Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a little bit, but I have been gathering a lot of paint, and by a lot I mean 28 colors that we are going to do for the Sap Green comparison. I just wanted to remind you guys that a name only means so much, right? Every time a brand comes out that, we have repeating names, but what you need to pay attention to is the pigment that is used to create that name. So this whole series is taking them by name, and it's kind of fun to see like the different pigments everybody uses to create Sap Green, for example. But you just want to take that with a grain of salt. Eventually I'll go back and do comparisons with pigments, but it'll be by anything that's done with a single pigment. Now Sap Green is one where most of them are going to have multiple pigments. You do have a few where it's a single pigment only, so those will go in that in series, but we have so many colors to go over just by name that I'll probably be 50 by the time we get to that. I am trying to do these now every 2 weeks. It's been hard though, because I've been trying to shop the sales and, well, not blow my complete budget. I appreciate everyone who's donated through my Ko-fi. That is awesome. Also, the best way you can support me in this project is buy the dot cards. You can actually buy the dot cards on my Etsy. It's linked in the description below, and that gives you a dot card. So you get to try any of these colors. So any color I've featured here that's not in a pan, you can get a dot card, but also all my other colors too. Other comparison colors, I have them listed by the color name and the brand. So that's actually the best way to support me, because then you get something with it, and it also helps me deplete, because I mean, I have 28 Sap Greens now. I can't use all of those. So you're doing me a favor. All right, let's get started. Hello, welcome to the Sap Green comparison, where we will be comparing 28 colors. Now, there were a few brands I tried to get my hands on and I just couldn't, but you know what, 28 is enough. Some are like, they'll have a Sap Green light and then a regular Sap Green. Not all of them I could get my hands on, like their light version and whatnot, so I did my best, but still, we've got Sap Greens galore to go through. So let's get started, because I had to actually put these on 2 different sheets. I have my pan sets on one, and then all the tubes here. I only have a couple in pans, but I want to note that I was able to snag some new brands for this go round, and I'm going to keep trying to add more and more new obscure brands, or just the brands that aren't as popular or well known. So I did grab a Turner one this time. It was requested. I know it's popular elsewhere, just not much here. So I did grab a Turner. I was able to grab an A Gallo tube. So this will be on my store. I'm glad they're doing the tubes now. What was one of the other ones? Ah, yes. The Marie's Masters. I have never used this brand, but I snagged it. Like I said, we're going all out. I did have some Rosa Gallery in the last one, but I got that. I also got Art Spectrum, so that's kind of new to the game. And I think that's it for new ones. Oh, and Kuretake Gansai Tambi. I'm going to start including those because they're growing in popularity. They have been popular, so I thought it would be a little fun. All right, we have a lot to get through, so let's get this party started. First things first, I do want to go over that I have changed up my sheet to make it a little easier. I used to do a mass tone swatch, and then I would do a wet on wet swatch. What I'm going to do now, I know my boxes are a little crooked, but this is more than enough space. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be starting with mass tone up here at the top, and then I will actually wet it down here so it'll run into the wet paper. And that's just going to make it easier for me, because otherwise it was just getting a little bit tedious, for lack of a better way to put it. So I wanted to point that out, but that's about really the only other change. So I will be using my usual, I have 2 paint pot cups, one clean, one for rinsing. As always, I am using my silver black velvet number 8 brush. I'm trying to do these all with the same brush. However, I want to emphasize the most important element in watercolor is not your brush, your paint, or anything else. It is the paper. I am using cold press paper, so keep that in mind. And let's get going. Okay, so first up we have Shinhan. Theirs is a single pigment, so PG8. Ooh, that's a really pretty color. I am super zoomed in. I hope you don't mind. Okay, so now we have Dollar Brownie Aqua Fine, PY73, and PB29. And if for some reason they don't call themselves Sap Green, I put something else. But that's a really nice one too. Okay, so now we're on to that Marie's Masters, PG7, PY154, and PR101. We're gonna get a little sloppy here, but whatever. Okay, so now we're on Holbein, which is PY150, PG7, and PR122. It's definitely darker. Okay, so now we're on the A Gallo, which is PY83, PG36, PV19, and PR101. It's a really interesting sap green, isn't it? Okay, Rembrandt, PY150 and PG7. It's more of a traditional sap green. Now we have Daniel Smith. This is PO48, PY150, and PG7. Oh, look at that one. Again, I'm still just trial and erroring how I want to swatch these out. I just felt like the mass tone and then wet on wet was just kind of a little bit of an overkill. But you guys definitely let me know. All right, Uteric PG7. Oh wow, look, once it hits that wet on wet there. And PO48. Got a little bit of a bleed through right there. Look, see how it's blossoming in there? It's actually really pretty. I'm always fascinated watching watercolors move, but that's a really pretty color. And from that brand, it's not bad at all. Okay, we're on Mission Gold, PG36 and PY150. It's a little brighter. Oops, I got a husky fur hair in there. That's what happens when you own a bunch of huskies. Okay, Schminke, PY153 and PG7. I might go out of the lines, whatever. I know some of you wanted me to test transparency, and that was one thing I did forget to add to this. But like I said, I'm gonna keep tweaking this until we perfect it. You guys, we have like hundreds of colors to get through, so we can get there together. Okay, Grumbacher Academy. This is a mouthful. PO48, PY150, PB154, and PG7. Winsor & Newton Pro is PG36. And then we have PY110. Okay, so now we are on Winsor & Newton Cotman, which is PY139, PG36, and PR101. Okay, My Mary Blue is PG17. I can already tell this is going to be pretty opaque. I'm even going to rinse that off a bit. Look at that. That's nuts. It was super thick coming out. So I'm going to wipe up a little bit of that one. We're just going to blot it up. And I'll adjust it. Oops, I didn't turn the camera back on when I adjusted it, but had a little too much of my brush there. It was really thick coming out. Okay, Sennelier, PB29, and then PY153. Okay, we have Turner's, PG36 and PY10. I had requests to do some Turners, which is why I added it. All right, now we're on to Core, PR101, PY150, PG36. Wow, it is Sap Green. Okay, we're on to Rosa Gallery, PY110, PG7, PBK6. You're gonna get some granulation, obviously, with that PBK6. We have a Runaway. This is Van Gogh, PY129 and PG7. It's actually really nice. All right, we have M. Graham, which is PG7 and PY110. Look at that move in there. Okay, we have Art Spectrum, PY129, PG7. I've never used this one, but it's quite nice looking. Then we have Michael Harding, PG7 and PBR6. That's a unique combo. It's a very pretty color though. Okay, Old Holland Sap Green Lake Extra. And boy, did they take that extra seriously. PY153, PY151, PG7, PY42, and PBK7, just in case you wanted a little more. They do have another Sap Green as well. They just didn't have it in stock. I waited and waited and had to finally give up. So now we're on to Da Vinci, which is PG7 and PY42. That's actually, Da Vinci is really impressing me throughout all of these. All right, now I'm going to get the pan colors. Okay, so when paints come from the tube, they're a lot more vibrant and concentrated as opposed to the pan. So keep that in mind, but some brands only do pans, like Roman Schmoll. Lucas, we have here PY153 and PG7. It's a lot lighter. It's actually dramatically lighter. Okay. And then we have the Roman Schmoll. I am a Roman Schmoll gal, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Just trying to get, this one has a piece of paper that got stuck in its pan. So this is Sap Green Light, PY110 and PG7. So I don't know if I turned on my camera to record these last two. So sorry if you missed that. I'm all sitting here talking and then I was like, did that go through? That's what happens when you have so many paints. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna dry everything up because you can't trust a watercolor while it's wet. And once we have everything dry, I will then go ahead and do a comparison. Okay, so I just wanted to show you something a little cool before we showed like everything dried up. This is like my palette of all of the greens, And it's kind of cool to just see. You can even see like the, you know, some that are more olivey than others. So it's kind of interesting. But let's talk about these bad boys. Now, I purposely tried to make it so that I could get them all in the same, just need to move some stuff, same frame. Oops, don't mind that. I had a dot card curing off to the side. Okay, so here we go. We have 28 Sap Greens. Now, they are all dry, so we can actually like see the colors here a lot better, because like I said, when they're wet, you never know. So to me, a Sap Green is a little bit brighter, and not on the olivey side. It really shouldn't be olive to me, because for me, that's more of a green gold or an olive green. So like A Gallo and Core and even this Roman Schmal Light, they're a little bit too olivey for me. But I want to point out one of my favorite colors is olive greens. I love them. They're in all my palettes always. So like if you had me pull these from a palette, sure. But when it comes to a Sap Green, I look for something a little bit more vibrant, not quite like a hooker's green, but honestly, the ones that really stand out to me, and to me speak as a Sap Green, and this is what makes these comparisons fun, right? Especially when we get into colors like this, where there's a lot of mixes, like indigo. Some people's idea of an indigo is one that's more gray leaning or darker, you know, so it's kind of fun to see what everyone thinks or their different preferences, but you can definitely see the ranges here. I mean, because look at the Grumbacher Academy one, just how dark that one is. Same with Daniel Smith, that's a little bit darker here. The Da Vinci is a titch darker, but not much. M. Graham is definitely a darker one as well. So, you know, it's kind of what is a Sap Green to you? Now, to me, I would say the ones that are closest to a Sap Green that I picture in my head is this Roman Schmal here. This to me is a Sap Green. And no, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Roman Schmal fan. Plus, who doesn't like to say Roman Schmal? It's just fun. But that to me is a Sap Green. It's got a perfect balance because it has PG7 and PY150. So I really enjoy that one. I did find it interesting that Michael Harding and My Merry Blue are almost exactly the same in the way they came out, which is interesting. And they're very expensive brands. Well, very expensive is relative, right, when it comes to watercolor. But the Roman Schmal to me is a traditional Sap Green color. So then if I were to go and compare ones that are closer to it, there's Schminke, Mission Gold, even this Rembrandt actually is pretty close. So is the Holbein. The Holbein looks really nice. The Shinhan, actually, I really like. It's a single pigment one. It's just a touch too dark for me. The Old Holland is okay, but it's just got so many colors in there. Holy moly, like if I wanted to go mix that with something else just to change it up, it would be a headache. But yeah, so for me, definitely I like the Roman Schmal. That is an artist grade paint. Roman Schmal is a very good brand. But if we're just talking about looking at these Sap Greens and not saying what is a traditional Sap Green to me, like which ones do I think look really pretty, or I just really like the way the colors perform. I really do like the Shinhan one, and that it's a single pigment. So I always love the more single pigment you can get, the better. It just makes life easier. I really like this Holbein. I do. I like the Daniel Smith. I even like the Uteric one here. But the Mission Gold one is okay, but I would almost take Schminke over that. It was interesting between the Winsor & Newton Pro and Winsor & Newton Cotman. They're pretty close considering the changes, but they share PG36, but other than that, they're different. But still, they looked really nice. I do like this Da Vinci though. This is a funny thing, right? The more I work with these paints, Da Vinci keeps coming out on top with some really good colors. So I just want to like throw that out there and see if anyone else has noticed that. They come in these monster tubes too, and they're incredibly affordable, but the colors are beautiful. I mean, look at that color. PG7 and PY42. It's beautiful. I mean, it's stunning. The M-Gram is beautiful too. It's just a little dark, but I like the way it looks. I honestly think the Michael Harding and My Mary Blue are too opaque, and it's not just from the way I swatched. They are actually opaque. So I don't know if I would actually like gravitate towards those, but who knows? Maybe if I watered them down a bit and played with them a little more, because, you know, My Mary Blue focuses solely on single pigments. So theirs are always going to be a little interesting. I have noticed that theirs tend to be a little bit more opaque a lot of times, and then Michael Harding is a brand where I'm still trying to get used to it. It's so pricey, and I haven't used it enough to like fully develop an opinion. Whereas Roman Schmal is actually one of my go-to brands. I use them all the time. I started using more Core ever since we started this little fun game here. I have never used this Marie's Masters one. Holbein, I actually own quite a few Holbeins, and Daniel Smith. Da Vinci is slowly becoming one of my favorites. I mean, they're just so affordable, and their paints are actually really good. M-Gram used to be one of my faves. They just kind of fell out once I found Roman Schmal, especially when, you know, you get a whole like full-size pan, although they do now have the half pans. So, and have you seen this, the way they have them packaged, so you can like see the color right there? That's pretty spiffy. I like that. But yeah, so you can get the full pans. Supposedly they're going to work on tubes. I'm not even worried about it. I enjoy like these full pans, and these last me forever. So I bought the Sap Green Light for this comparison, but here's my Sap Green that I have had for 2 years, and look, I barely dented that thing, and I use it a lot. So there's that, but I would love to know which Sap Green you like. This is probably one of the funnest ones because look at just the range. We've got olivey ones. We've got some crazy dark ones. So it'd just be fun to see like what everyone's opinion is, which one you've used, you know, because swatching is one thing, painting with them can be another. You can get a lot more from painting, and gosh, I wish I had the patience to do these swatch comparisons and then paint while we're at it, but I don't. So I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. But yeah, these are still really, really fun. I'm really impressed with all of these colors here. So let me know which ones you own, which ones you maybe want to try now after seeing this. Also, like I said, I'm going to continue to tweak my swatching method, and I had completely forgot. I know you guys asked for transparency, so I will remember on the next one to have a nice marker line, because that's what I do in my swatch books. I do a marker line, and then I go over it so you can see the transparency. But one thing I was actually thinking of possibly switching to is just the old way I swatch my watercolors for myself. So let me show you. So when I got fancy stamps, I started doing this. Now, I would purposely go out of the lines so that I could check the opacity or transparency, but this isn't the old way I used to swatch. This right here is actually the old way I used to swatch. I would toss up my line, and I would not do wet on wet. I would just solely swatch wet on dry. So it's really important to know that, because that is how I paint, which is how you should always swatch. You should swatch the way you paint. I don't do wet on wet. I go wet on dry. So I would have my line, and then I would just literally drag it out. That's why these are a little bit more concentrated. However, you can still see the granulation even without the wet on wet. So that was a way that I had, I used to do my swatches so I could test everything. So maybe I'll come up with something similar to that, but like a combo, because I know some people want to see them when they hit the water and see how they look. And I need larger boxes, and that's the problem, right? Because 28 colors didn't fit on a single page, and then it's just going to keep getting bigger. So let me know in the comments below. I really do appreciate in the last video how kind you all were. For a little while there, I was debating if I was going to quit just because of the internet can be such a mean place. So I really appreciate the kind words and just all that. And like I said, the best way to support me is just go buy yourself some dot cards, because then you get something out of it. So I am going to start a membership on my channel as well. The membership will have a monthly fee which will help go towards these, but as part of your membership perks, you will get to pick like certain number of dots per month to be sent to you for free as part of your membership. So like if I do a Sap Green comparison and it's, you know, your month to get your freebies, you can literally let me know and I'll reach out and you just tell me which ones you want and that's what you get. So I'll be doing that as well. But next is quinacridone gold. I've already started shopping, but please, please, in the comments below, let me know if there is a specific brand you've been eyeing for Quin Gold so that I can make sure I snag it, because there actually is going to be a lot of those as well. And then I believe the next one that won in the poll is quinacridone magenta. However, the poll is still up, so go to my community tab and go and place your vote, because that's the one that's winning right now. Now, just because one is winning and or losing doesn't mean I'm not doing the other ones. Everything in that list I'm doing. I'm just trying to prioritize. So, thanks for hanging out with me for another fun little comparison day. I think this was a really fun one just because there's so many. They're so pretty. And like I said, I'm always open to suggestions. So, until next time, everyone, take care. Bye now.